It has been heartwarming for me to see how many individuals and organizations have stepped up to respond to the Syrian refugee crisis in so many ways. I was amazed to learn that there are so many local groups sponsoring refugee families, 15 that we're aware of.
My guest is Tina Bailey, Executive Director of the Community Foundation of Kingston Area. So Tina, what's going on today?
Well, we're very pleased to be hosting a speaker series today. We host about 4 of these a year, and this one is looking at the topic of welcoming Syrian refugees to Kingston. You know, we've all seen in the media there's a lot going on with the 25,000 Syrian refugees to come to Canada. So lots going on nationally and here locally. So we have some expert speakers working in this space here today to talk us through what's going on both at the national level and what's going on here in Kingston and area specifically.
I just wanted to start with this because we often talk about all the challenges and kind of how we can be prepared as a community, but we have to keep in mind that we're extremely fortunate to welcome refugees and immigrants in general in our community, because they are strengthening our community and they are bringing that cultural diversity. And they make a lot of different contributions. So we are a program part of the Kingston Community Health Centers. So we provide direct settlement services to immigrants, and obviously refugees are part of that group as well. So we meet with new refugees that come into our community. Typically they come with their sponsorship groups to our office, and we will help them with all sorts of settlement questions that they might have. So that could be maybe help them to get their health cards, from kind of making a new friends, getting a new social network, finding housing, enrolling their children in school. So it can be very broad. It's really kind of that how can a settlement worker help them to navigate in their new community. And we also have another program at the health center that works more with the community partners, which is the immigration partnership, where we work with our community partners to create programming and create kind of activities and events that will help Kingston to be more welcoming for newcomers.
Thanks very much, and it is quite wonderful to be here, and wonderful that there is so much support in this community for Syrian refugees. Having 15 sponsor groups in this one community is quite wonderful.
What have we learned from prior immigrant experiences that's being helpful today?
Well, I would refer to prior refugee experiences
yes.
in particular.
All right.
I think the movement that is probably most helpful for us to look at is the Indo-Chinese movement of 79, 80, 81, where Canada received 60,000 refugees from Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia over a 2-year period. And that was the beginning of the private sponsorship movement, where average Canadians, book clubs, neighborhood associations, people who worked together, got together to sponsor refugees. And the results were remarkable. People really integrated well, they settled well, they had access to friends who were outside their own community that helped them bridge cultures. And we're seeing that now with the Syrian refugee movement. The private citizens coming forward to sponsor has just been phenomenal.
The 3 women, the family member who already lived here, and the 2 women in our 2 families have started selling Syrian food at the Memorial Center Market, which is now housed for the winter in Princess Street United Church. So if you've been there, I see some of you nodding your head. If you've been there and you may have bought some Syrian food, it's delicious. So far they've been sending their donations back for refugee relief, but the plan is to develop that into a small business for those women. I do want to tell you that I've been with Marwan and the family so many times when people in the community, when I've introduced the family, the first words that people come up with is, "Welcome to Canada," over and over. And our experience everywhere we go is that people are so welcoming, so I certainly support what the other speakers said today about the public is right behind this.
We always hear jobs are important and dealing with our Kingston winters, but what are the things that came as a surprise to you that you found was something that refugees really needed?
Well, absolutely, the job piece is absolutely true. Actually, I would say the recreational and the kind of the seasonal piece that we sometimes take for granted is definitely something that refugees and immigrants in general, we really want to help them to understand that. Maybe not so much as a surprise, but what I do notice is that maybe a surprise for us as a community that we have a lot of assumptions around cultures, and that we sometimes think about cultures and assume that people will come in with a certain behavior or a certain relationship. And so I guess maybe not so much a surprise for the refugees that are coming in, but more a surprise for our community, or kind of I would say a heads up that we have to first also really look at what we know and what we assume. They are part of our community. Learn from them. Listen to their stories if they want to share them, and share your story. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
For more information, go to the Community Foundation website. For K-Town Source, I'm Donna Chambers.